They warned you that cheese was unhealthy, deadly, and a heart attack on a plate. However, what if we told you that the meal you've been taught to stay away from might be the key to preventing muscle loss after the age of 60? This is the startling reality. 99% of seniors are unaware that 3 particular cheeses, yes, cheeses, can restore lost muscle mass more quickly than the majority of supplements available on the market. Startling? It gets worse, though. According to a 2023 study, one of these cheeses can increase leg strength by 28% in just 90 days. However, nobody discusses it. Why? Because large supplement businesses don't want you to know that a basic food item in your refrigerator may be more effective than their pills and powders. What they're not telling you is this. The protein isn't the only factor. Certain bioactive substances found in these cheeses promote cellular muscle repair. The top 3 cheeses that naturally develop muscle are shown in this video, arranged by significance and impact. And the top cheese? Without ever setting foot in a gym, it could reverse up to 35% of muscle loss. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you 2 quick questions. First, even though you believe you're getting enough protein, have you noticed a decline in your strength? Second, do you find it harder to do everyday tasks like climbing stairs or opening jars? Let me know in the comments section below. We read every single one and offer personalized advice just for you. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like it and subscribe to Man After 70 so you never miss more practical and empowering health content. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the first cheese on our list. It might not seem like much, but for elderly people who need assistance getting up or carrying their groceries, this could be the first step toward regaining their strength. The third item is Parmesan cheese. That salty, nutty, aged cheese is called Parmesan. Parmesan initially appears to be merely a garnish, a sprinkle over lasagna dough or noodles. However, one of the largest natural quantities of leucine, the amino acid that functions as a muscle switch in older adults, can be found beneath its tough exterior. Even when growth hormone and testosterone levels are dropping, the body can still start the process of growing muscle when leucine levels are high. For seniors, who frequently require more protein, and leucine simply to maintain what younger bodies naturally build, this makes it extremely important. In 2021, the Journal of Clinical Nutrition released a research that looked at elderly persons who ate a diet high in leucine, particularly from aged dairy products like Parmesan. The outcomes were startling. Compared to a control group that ingested regular protein, those who consumed only 5 grams of leucine per day, roughly the same amount as 50 grams of Parmesan, saw a 38% boost in muscle protein synthesis. That's more than just a statistical gain. It's what separates weakness from strength, between tripping and walking steadily. Parmesan's digestibility is what makes it even more senior-friendly. Parmesan contains very little lactose, the sugar that many elderly people have digestive problems with because it is aged for 12 to 36 months. This implies that people with minor lactose intolerance can still consume it. Because of its solid texture, you can shave it into salads and soups or grate it over anything without having to consume an entire block of cheese. Here's exactly how to use Parmesan to get the most out of your muscles. First, aim for 30 to 40 grams, about 1–2 ounces, per day. Here, timing is crucial. Within 30 minutes of your morning exercise, even if it's only a walk, consume half of this quantity. This window is when your muscles are most responsive to protein production. To promote nocturnal muscle recovery, take the remaining half with your evening meal. Practically speaking, you can reach your lowering goal for that meal by adding 2 tablespoons of freshly grated Parmesan to an omelet, a bowl of lentils, or a warm vegetable soup. Steer clear of pairing it with fatty meals or thick cream sauces, as these can hinder the absorption of proteins and slow down digestion. Here's something you need to be aware of. Not every type of Parmesan is made equally. Parmigiano Reggiano, the original naturally matured variety without additives, offers the greatest advantages. Supermarket pre-shredded varieties frequently include fillers and cellulose, a wood pulp that can obstruct the body's ability to absorb and digest nutrients. Always choose Parmigiano Reggiano Parmesan if it has aging crystals, which are those crunchy white spots that indicate a high protein content. Finally, keep in mind that Parmesan is salty. If you're a senior controlling your blood pressure, limit your daily consumption to less than 50 grams and stay away from processed meats like bacon or salami. Excess salt from various sources can put stress on aged kidneys, while a healthy kidney can handle the sodium just fine. Now, allow me to introduce you to Margaret, a retired Ohio teacher who was 67 years old. She had fallen twice in 3 months and was unable to carry her groceries, so she came to see me. Her DEXA scans showed that her muscle mass had decreased by 15% during the preceding 5 years. Together with some simple physical training, we began her on the Parmesan protocol. At first, she was dubious since she believed cheese would lead her to put on weight. She had reduced 2 inches from her waist and restored 7% of her lost muscle mass after 12 weeks. She hasn't fallen in more than a year and now teaches yoga at her community center. The secret was to eat her Parmesan at the right time and consistently. After learning how Parmesan can transform a sprinkle into strength, let's move on to a cheese that unlocks endurance as well as strength by working even deeper into your cells. Cottage cheese comes in second. The soft, mild, lumpy white cheese that is frequently available in plastic tubs in the dairy department is called cottage cheese. Science indicates differently, yet most seniors ignore it, writing it off as dull or diet food. For those over 60, cottage cheese is one of the best diets for maintaining muscle because it contains casein protein, which is the slowest digesting protein in nature. Not only does this kind of protein help you gain muscle, but it also provides your muscles with steady nourishment for hours on end, especially if you take it at night. The secret is in that place. Your body becomes less effective at converting protein into muscle after the age of 60, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. For this reason, consuming steak or chicken during the day may not result in the same muscular growth that you experienced in your 30s. However, your body circumvents that resistance by releasing amino acids gradually throughout the night when you eat casein-rich foods like cottage cheese before bed. 42 elderly men between the ages of 65 and 75 were the subjects of a groundbreaking 2022 study that was published in Nutrients. Half ate nothing before bed, and the other half received 30 grams of casein-rich cottage cheese. Without altering their exercise regimen, the cottage cheese group increased 1.2 kilos of lean muscle mass after 12 weeks. With simply cottage cheese before bed, you can gain more than 2.5 pounds of actual muscle. Muscle breakdown is most active at night, which is why this is so important. Your body enters a fasting state while you sleep, which means it uses the energy from your muscles to power your organs. This can result in nightly muscle loss for elderly persons. However, the casein in cottage cheese prevents that breakdown by supplying a constant flow of amino acids as you sleep, much like a drip-feed intravenous system. Not just any amino acid either. All 9 of the essential amino acids are present in cottage cheese in the proper ratios for muscle regeneration. Additionally, it contains a lot of glutamine, an amino acid that helps reduce inflammation in muscle tissue following mild strain or exercise. Cottage cheese is best consumed right before bed to help develop muscle. Between 150 and 200 grams, or around 1 cup, is the optimal quantity. Select full-fat or 2% varieties because the fat slows down digestion even more and keeps you feeling full all night. Add some berries, cinnamon, or even a teaspoon of honey for flavor if you're concerned about taste. Steer clear of mixing it with processed jams or sugary cereals, as these might raise blood sugar levels and disrupt your sleep. Lactose-free cottage cheese is widely accessible and equally effective for people who are lactose intolerant. Let's now discuss errors. Purchasing low-protein or whipped cottage cheese is one of the biggest mistakes seniors make. These versions frequently include less than 10 grams of protein per serving, which is insufficient to initiate the reaction that builds muscle. Make sure it has at least 13 to 15 grams of protein per 100 grams by always reading the label. Eating it in the morning rather than at night is another frequent error. Protein in the morning is beneficial, but casein's true potency comes from its nightly drip action. But there is one item to consider: salt. Each serving of some cottage cheese brands has more than 400 milligrams of salt. Always go for the low-sodium varieties, particularly if you have water retention or high blood pressure. You won't have to worry about heating up cottage cheese, and you'll still get the same protein boost. The objective is defeated when casein is cooked because it loses its structure and becomes a rubbery mess that breaks down too quickly. Let me now introduce you to Patricia, a 67-year-old Florida school teacher who is now retired. She complained to us that every morning she needed assistance getting out of bed because her legs felt heavy. She added that it had been months since she had slept for more than 5 hours. We checked her labs and found evidence of protein deficiency and mild sarcopenia. She barely consumed 35 grams of protein each day, primarily from eggs and lentils, and her loss of muscle had begun to impair her ability to balance. Before going to bed, we advised adding just 1 cup of cottage cheese. No other supplements, no changes in workout. Her quadriceps mass increased by 14% after just 8 weeks, and she reported feeling stronger and more rested in the mornings. The unexpected aspect: she reported a significant improvement in her sleep. This is because insulin, which stabilizes blood sugar and lessens nocturnal awakenings, is also regulated by the gradual digestion of casein. The last cheese on our list is now up for discussion. This one is uncommon, powerful, and has been scientifically proven to improve strength, muscle mass, and even mobility more than the other two together. It's the best defense against sarcopenia. First up is ricotta cheese. The soft, creamy white cheese known as ricotta is frequently used in Italian recipes such as stuffed shells and lasagna. It may appear harmless on the outside, but it contains whey protein, one of the most complete and absorbable proteins in any natural meal. In contrast to other cheeses, ricotta is created using the whey liquid that is left over after making more conventional cheeses like mozzarella. Fast-digesting proteins, branched-chain amino acids, and lactoferrin, a rare bioactive peptide that helps shield muscle fibers from oxidative stress and inflammation, are all found in that whey. Simply put, this means that ricotta protects muscle rather than merely building it. Muscle atrophy, or the progressive shrinkage of muscle fibers brought on by age or inactivity, begins to accelerate beyond age 65, although most seniors are unaware of this. Inflammation, the silent process that eats away at healthy muscle tissue while you sleep, move, or simply sit, exacerbates it. 48 adults over 65 were the subject of a 2023 study published in the American Journal of Physiology. The control group continued to eat a typical protein-rich diet, whereas the other half received 150 grams of ricotta every day for breakfast and lunch. The ricotta group had a 28% increase in total leg power, a 19% improvement in walking speed, and a 35% increase in muscle cross-sectional area after 12 weeks. Without rigorous resistance training, that kind of development in 3 months is practically unheard of. The way ricotta functions throughout your body is the secret. The whey-derived proteins in ricotta function rapidly, in contrast to cottage cheese, which provides protein gradually throughout the night. They overload the bloodstream with amino acids, which sets off a hormonal reaction involving insulin and growth factor 1, also known as IGF-1, a naturally occurring anabolic hormone that promotes muscle growth and repair. Given that elderly persons normally produce significantly less IGF-1, this is crucial. When ricotta is consumed within 60 minutes of engaging in mild exercise, such as stretching or walking, it functions as a natural stimulant. Additionally, compared to hard cheeses, it is simpler to chew and swallow, making it perfect for elderly people with digestive or dental disorders. However, this is where the situation becomes even more intriguing. Additionally, ricotta contains a lot of readily absorbed calcium and phosphorus. Both bone density and the muscles that surround and support your joints depend on these two minerals. The risk of fractures following a fall is doubled for seniors who lose calcium because they frequently experience a combination of weaker muscles and bones. According to a 2022 Italian study, even if the participants' overall caloric intake were the same, seniors who ate 100 grams of ricotta per day had thicker muscular fibers and stronger hip stability. So how do you get the most out of ricotta? It's all about timing. After engaging in physical activity, such as walking, gardening, or climbing stairs, ricotta is best enjoyed. At that point, the amino acids can be used right away since your muscle fibers are more responsive to protein. One easy way to use it is to blend half a cup of ricotta into scrambled eggs for a high-protein post-walk supper, or add it on whole grain toast with tomato and olive oil. It can also be blended with almond butter and banana to make a smoothie. It is rich, creamy, and anabolic. Always use unflavored, fresh ricotta, and if you can, use organic, preservative-free varieties. Unless your doctor has prescribed a severe fat limit, stay away from low-fat ricotta. Important vitamins like D and K2, which are essential for bone and muscle coordination, are absorbed more readily when fat is consumed. Seniors frequently make the error of thinking of ricotta as dessert. They eat it after a high-sugar meal, which raises insulin levels and causes fat storage instead of muscle growth, and they combine it with chocolate, cookies, or jams. The fact that you just use it sometimes is another issue. When utilizing ricotta as a protein source, it's crucial to stay hydrated and utilize it consistently, at least 4 to 5 days a week. Drinking adequate water aids in the kidney's efficient processing of nitrogen waste, which is increased by protein. Let me now tell you the tale of Robert, a retired Michigan taxi driver who is 75 years old. Robert had been losing weight quickly over the past year and has a history of type 2 diabetes. He started using a cane because to regular leg weakness and thinner arms. When we looked at his diet, we discovered that he was consuming less than 40 grams of protein per day, none of which came from fast-acting sources, despite his doctor's advice that a wheelchair was inevitable. In addition to 10-minute evening walks, we promptly added 200 grams of ricotta to his meal 5 times a week. No hard exercise, no supplements. Robert no longer required the cane after 9 weeks. He assured us that he could go to the cafe and back on foot without stopping to rest. High-quality protein stabilizing effect on his insulin response is probably what caused his lab results to indicate a 16% increase in lean mass and better blood sugar control. He informed us that I had regained my legs and that I didn't even feel as though I was on a diet. It's important to remember that ricotta is not magic. Only when combined with moderate exercise, consistent hydration, and little processed sugar does it work. Ricotta has the power to transform your life if you do that. That concludes our list of the best 3 cheeses for sarcopenia prevention and muscular growth. Here are some things to keep in mind if you have read this far. Like a switch, Parmesan activates muscular growth. Ricotta and cottage cheese keep your muscles going all night. Your strength is restored from the inside out by ricotta. We'd like to hear from you now. Out of all the cheeses we mentioned, which one would you like to try first? Have you noticed any recent muscle weakness? And what has worked well for you so far? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We truly enjoy reading them. If you found this video helpful, please share it with someone you care about. Thanks to you, they might find the strength to stand tall again. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Man After 70 for more insightful and empowering content made just for you.